Okay, so now for maths, and today in maths lesson we are ordering and comparing decimals. Okay, so we're just focusing on the decimals today, we're not focusing on the fractions as well. Alright, you need to be putting them into order. So let's just go through the steps for success for when ordering decimals for up to 3 places. Now, I'm sure we've looked at this before. We always start from the left-hand side. Okay, so if you just look at this top one here, you've got 3 decimal numbers. Look on the left-hand side and compare the numbers. Okay, now this just happens to be the ones column. We've got a 0, a 0, and a 0. Now, all of these are exactly the same. So that's no use to us. So we have to move 1 column over to the left. All right. So in the tenths column, we've got a 3, a 1, and a 9. Okay, now all 3 of those numbers are different. So we can actually now order these decimals. It does not matter what's in the hundredths column, the thousandths column, doesn't matter at all. You start at the left and you work over until you come to a place value where you have got different digits. Okay, so if we're going in ascending order, so going up, starting with the smallest and going up, our 1/10 is the smallest, then our 3/10, and then our 9/10. Okay, so this whole number here, 0.163 comes first, then 0.352, and then 0.981. Okay, right, let's look at the next one. I've put in a couple of tricky bits to try and catch you out. I'm hoping it won't catch you out though. So once again, you start on the left-hand side and compare the digits. In the ones column, you've got 0, 0, 0, and 0. All exactly the same, so we can't do anything about it. Look at the tenths column. We've got a 4, a 4, a 6, and a 6. Now, you've obviously got 2 4s and 2 6s, but we have got a difference of numbers, so we can focus on this column. If we're going with smallest numbers to start with, 4/10 are smaller than 6/10. Okay, so these 2 numbers will come first. So you've then got to decide which out of these 2 numbers is the smaller one. So they've both got a 0 in the ones column, they've both got a 4 in the tenths column. So guess what? We go to the hundredths column. We've got a 3 and we've got a 1. Okay, which one is smaller? 1. So this is our smallest number, 0.417. Okay, then it will be this one, 0.43. It does not matter that this hasn't got anything in the thousandths column. Remember, you could just say 0 thousandths, all right, if that makes you happier, because then each has got 3 decimal places. Okay, pop a 0 on there as well. All right, you start at the left and work your way across. This is the smallest, and then this one. Now we look at these 2 numbers. We've got 6/10 for both of them. So once again, we go to the hundredths column. We've got a 2 and we've got a 1. The 1 is obviously smaller. So in third place comes this number, and then the largest number is 0.628. Okay, so you start from the left-hand side, work your way across. It does not matter if one number has got more digits than another. That does not make it a bigger number, all right, or a smaller number. So in order, 0.417, 0.43, 0.61, 0.628. Okay, just to put a completely different one in the mix, I've put this one at the bottom. So, again, you start at the left. We've got a 1 in the ones column, a 2 in the ones column, a 4 in the ones column, and then we've got a 5 in the ones column, but we've also got a digit in the tens column. Okay? If we look at that, 65 is much bigger than 4, 2, or 1. Okay, so I'm sure you can work out for yourselves, all right, that just by looking at those digits, 1.293 is the smallest, 2.167 next, 4.521, and then 65.975 is the largest. Okay, we didn't even need to look in the tenths, hundredths, or thousandths column. We only needed to look at those first digits because they were the ones we could compare. Okay, because they were different, that's what we compared. We didn't need to see the rest. Okay, so always start from the left. All right? Okay, so work out what number we've got here, and then I want you to think of a decimal number that is larger and a decimal number that is smaller than this number. Okay, so if you pause the video and then write down two numbers, a smaller one and a larger one, please. Okay, so you will have worked out that this number here is 2.342. Okay, so numbers that are smaller, you could have had any decimal that begins with a 1 or any decimal that begins with a 0. You could have had a number that begins with 2 but then only has 2 tenths, so 2.2 something something, okay? Or even you could have had 2.33 and then another number, and that would still have been smaller, okay? Going bigger, you literally could have had any number in the ones column, okay? And that would have made it bigger. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 would have made for a bigger decimal. You could have had 2, but just made sure you had more tenths. So 2.5 something something. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to think of a smaller and a larger number. All right, there's some examples. 2.489, 2.578, 3.521. Smaller numbers, 2.266, 1.789, or 2.0. Okay, right, let's try and answer a few questions. So, remembering what I've said about thinking about the order, I would like you to look at these rows and work out which ones are ordered correctly. So we've got row 1, row 2, and row 3. Some of them are ordered correctly. Some of them are not ordered correctly. I want to know which ones are and which ones aren't. They're ordered from smallest to largest. So can you just pause the video and work out which ones are correct, please? Off you go. Okay, so you will see that this top one, row 1, is in the correct order. All of the ones column have a 1, so we look at the tenths column. We've got a 7, a 7, an 8, and a 9. So for the two that are 7s, we need to look at the hundredths column. That's got a 0, that's got a 1. So we know that they are in the right order. Then we've got 8 tenths and 9 tenths. So yes, that is correct. Let's look at row 2 and find the mistake. Okay, so all of them have a 3 in the ones column. So let's look at the tenths column. A 4, a 5, a 5, a 0. Ah, well that's our mistake, isn't it? Okay, 0 is the smallest, so this number should have come to start with. All right, now let's look at row 3. They all begin with a 6 once again, so let's look at the tenths column. 0, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's easy enough, isn't it? Obviously, 0 is the smallest. Then we've got 5, 6, and 7. So once again, they are ordered correctly. Okay? Hopefully, you're getting the hang of this now. Here we have a sequence of decimals in descending order. Remember, descending means going down. You've got to decide which one of these can fit in here. All right? So you've got 7.29, 7 and 6 tenths. So remember, that's just a 6 in the tenths column, 7.038 and 7.165. Can you stop the video and work it out for me, please? Okay, so 7.29 is your answer, because if we have a look here, remember we're going down. We've got a 7 in the ones and a 7 in the ones, so it must begin with 7. In the tenths column, we've got a 5, and here we've got a 2. All right, so let's look at what we've got. Here we've got a 1, so it can't be that because that's even smaller, so that number would go there. Here is a 0, so again that's even smaller, so that number would go here. If we've got 6 in the tenths column, that's bigger, so that would go here, leaving this number 7.29. Now the 2 tenths is the same as this, so let's just check it is a bigger number. If we go to the hundredths column, this has got 9 hundredths and this has only got 5. So yes, this number does fit in here and is bigger. Let's try another question. Using the statements greater than, less than or equal to, can you make it correct? So you need to remember here that there are 100 centimetres in a metre. So this needs converting to start with, doesn't it? 852 centimetres is how many metres? 8.52. Right, pause the video and decide what goes in there. Off you go. Okay, so you will hopefully have seen that they are all greater than. Let's check. So your 8.52 metres, which we've converted it to, again, they're all beginning with the 8. This one's got a 5 in the tenths. This has got a 4 in the tenths. So the 5 is greater, so goes in the crocodile's mouth. These are both got 4 tenths. Okay, so we're looking at the hundredths column. They've both got 2 9s. It's there to trick you. So we look at the thousandths column. You just keep on going like that. This has got a 1. This has got nothing in the thousandths column. So 1 is obviously greater than 0. Okay, so again, this is the bigger number going in the crocodile's mouth. Okay? Remember, if there's nothing there, it's the 0. Place these numbers in ascending order. So we're going up. All right? Changing these, don't make it harder than it is. All right? You've got 561 thousandths. So that is simply 3.561. Okay? You can do this one for yourself and then put them in ascending order. Can you stop the video, please? Okay, so 3.165 is the smallest, okay, because it's got a 1 in the tenths column. 3.561 comes next. It's got a 5 in the tenths column, and this has got a 5 in the tenths column. So we go to the hundredths column. There is a 6, there is an 8. Okay, the 6 is smaller than the 8. So this will come, and then this one will come, and then here we've got a 6 in the tenths column, which is larger than the 5 in the tenths column. Okay? Right, and we've got time for one more. Let's do this one, explaining. Jean is comparing numbers. He says, I think that 9.218 kilometres is greater than 9,214 metres. Is he correct? First thing you need to do is convert it from metres to kilometres, okay, which will simply be the 9.214, okay? So is he correct that this is greater? Pause the video and decide. Okay, he is correct. Obviously the ones column's the same, the tenths column's the same, the hundredths column's the same. It's the thousandths which are different. Okay, this is an 8 and this is a 4. All right, you have a go now at trying the do, explain, that do think and explain questions. Good luck with them. Thank you.